Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have TJ Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. TJ Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of TJ Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because TJ Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off the first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Trigger Mike. I just had a mic flop. Give me 2 seconds to get another one popping for you. I'll be right. All right, what's going on, family? Can y'all hear me? Everything good? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Just waiting for the chat to engage with me. Can y'all hear me? This mic fell right on my face 20 seconds before the thing started. But anyway, we're gonna get it popping. We're gonna make it do what it do. That's going down as one of my all-time bloopers. God damn, that thing was a woo pop. That's what I get. I switched to my bigger desk, but it doesn't have one of those, doesn't have an area for me to clamp this mic. So I'm gonna have to figure out some kind of engineering. I'm gonna do something, but either way, good to be here with y'all on this good Monday. How y'all doing? Hopefully everybody is at work. Everything is moving swimmingly for you. Hopefully traffic wasn't too bad for you today, because I've recently seen what that traffic is like, and I'm not a fan. Too many people out here. I thought we were remote working. How the hell did all this traffic end up out here in these streets? But anyway, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network, the greatest network on YouTube. Thank y'all for coming through and always patronizing us with your support, and we always appreciate it. Shout out to all our viewers nationwide and international. We got people in the U.S., down south, up north, West Coast, Midwest, Southwest. Salute to you for coming through today and chopping it up with us. I know you could be anywhere in the YouTube streets, but you here with us. This is our block party each and every day. Thank you for coming through once again to the Trigger Mike Show on the Lapeef Network. Shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. The link is down in the description. 30% off along with a free gift. You can go to tej.com/Lapeef, JUL, and get that discount code for that uncomplicated skincare for men. You all know that's what's up. That's what's popping in these streets. I see a lot of you in the chat today. Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show. We got a lot to talk about. Yeah, we do. If you would like to support the show, you can do so by form of super chat. I know some of y'all got paid on Friday, and it might have been a light weekend, or you were just out having a hot girl summer. I want to see some support from the ladies, all right? I found out a long time ago that most of my viewers are women. So I need to see y'all supporting. If you like the content that we give, even if it rubs you a little bit the wrong way, understand that we mean well. You know, we mean well. We're just trying to do what's best for the community. You know, we live our lives properly in the way we're supposed to, so you should listen to us, right? I take care of my kids. I take care of my wife. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So I want to see support from the ladies too. All right, support me like you support that homegirl that's stripping to get through school. If you gonna support her and not support me, we got something wrong. All right. So if you can be so kind, send your love, show your support in form of super chats. These productions do cost money. All right, these productions do cost money, but we always appreciate any monetary support you can give us to keep these productions going. All right, thank you so much for coming through. And yes, if you are watching this after the broadcast is live, you can support by form of super thanks. If you like anything I say, anything one of the panelists say, you can do that as well. So shout out to everybody for coming through and letting us get through your workday. Who do we got in the chat today? My man Ghost said, I would say good luck. Shoot, me too. I would say good luck as well. Nurse Fancy, how you doing? Thank you for coming through to the show today. My man Big Bad Bull, what's going on? Bad Boy 45 says, not if the mothers aren't good examples. Mom should have a positive view of black men in general. Mom must be a helpmate and a man in the community, and to a man, in the community to contribute to. Remember, mom is the first teacher. I have no argument with that, bro. Not at all. Not at all. Jill's Chocolate Boutique, how you doing, Sugarfoot? Thank you so much for always. You're probably the number one supporter of the show if I want to be you or Quincy. And I appreciate each and every bit of support you give to the show. MS Best says, if the indoctrination is not stopped immediately, this generation is lost too. And most likely the whole country with it. Woo, y'all on fire. I haven't even started what I expect to be a short monologue. Y'all on fire. Good God. I'm very proud, though. I'm very proud because people think that we're just sitting on our hands and we don't actually see and can properly assess what's going on in the community as it affects us. And that's not true. It is extremely hard to organize an effort to change people's minds. In fact, most of what we're doing here is to let people know that we have dedicated ourselves, our family, our prowess, our resources to making sure we raise our individual's family past the American standard, right? But nobody really can find a way to do that for the entire community at large. So it's going to take all the fathers, all the mothers to do what needs to be done in your individual home structure to build a community that is functional to save the youth. How you doing? How you doing? My man Quincy in the building. Badass thing. What's going on? Diamond J Rose again. What's up? What's up? My man Dale Matthew in the building. Let's go. Let's go. Eugene Steele. What's going on? Zoomer generation. You probably got something to say on this too. Come up and chat with your boy. I'm actually going to drop the link. Isaiah JR. What's going on, my man? Sugar Curls. I was listening to you on Lapeef and Sundays yesterday on my way back from teaching a class. Very good stuff there. Always welcome. You are always welcome. Scrap Skrilla the Rilla. What's good, man? Thank you for coming through. Raven Dillard, how you doing? I do stay out of pocket, but you already know how it is. My man EBD, where you been at? Come up and join me. We got to talk. My man Trey, come up. You done smack some of these youth with a baton, so you need to talk to me as well. You need to let me know what's up. But where did this topic? Let's get into the topic today. The topic today is, can we save our youth? Simple enough topic. Now, for those of you who were in your Instagram this weekend, which is pretty much everybody, maybe even on your Facebook too, or your Twitter, you saw a particular clip. And what I want to do first, this is a two-part thing. I want to analyze this clip because I didn't see what everybody else saw. And I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that clip that emerged where a young, let's just call it what it is, black boy. I hate when people play around and say, oh, we don't know if he was black. He had a hood over his head. But he was trying to burglarize somebody's house. He went trying to tug on the entrances, the windows, and dude came out about to blast on him. Funny thing is, I teach firearms and defensive tactics. So I saw something completely different than most people saw. Okay, I saw something completely different. Trey said he never hit anyone. He lying. Allegedly. Okay, allegedly. He has or have never hit anyone. Allegedly. All right, but I'm about to play that clip. For those of you that did not see it, this was very, very much a clip that people were talking about, not even in the YouTube streets, but definitely in the Instagram streets. I put a comment on about 3 different platforms that kept showing that clip, like Shade Room and all of them. But I saw something different than other people saw. So I'm going to play that right now to give you a little bit of context. Because yes, what eventually happened in this clip, people are kind of comprehending it like, well, this is the way to save our youth. And I want to know what you, the audience, think about that. Stay tuned for this clip. Listen up close.
What's up, bro? Oh. Chill, man. You alright? I ain't alright. It ain't gotta be like this, man. Don't gotta be like this. We can talk. I just wanna go on by my way. Hey, just chill for a minute. Just let me talk to you, alright? I'm gonna put mine down, you put yours down. Let's talk. I just wanna go on by my way, though. Hey, everything gonna be alright, bro. All we gotta do is talk, alright? Hey, I done been there, dog. I done been on that side. All you gotta do is talk to me, dog. What's wrong, man? What's wrong? A lot of things going on. All right, you got to put that down, though, so we can talk. And let's talk about what you got going on. I promise you. Bro, I ain't going to call the police or nothing. But you got to talk to me, all right? You can't do it like this. Let's just talk, bro. You want to make some money? Let's talk about making some money. All right? All right? This ain't the life you want to live, bro. Come talk to me. I'm putting mine down now. Come on in. Come talk to me, man. This is my brother, man. All right, my little brother. Let's talk about your little brother in the house, dog. Let's get from out here. All right.
All right, there y'all have it. Listen, before I give any bit of my synopsis on this, let me know your thoughts in the chat. What are your thoughts on that video? What are your thoughts on that video? That was, I mean, people were commenting. I was commenting all weekend, trying to let people know what was going on. But I want your initial thoughts. What are your initial thoughts on this? All right. My man Frenchie says, depending on what state the homeowner was in, he would have been in the right. Oh, you tracking exactly what I'm tracking on. He's a saint to his mother. Probably. Diamond J. Rose says, if we go back to discipline and discipleship, spare the rod and spoil the child. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, my man Brandon E with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Says putting his gun down and turning his back was not smart. Make homie surrender the gun first if you want to talk. I like you, Brandon. And you think like me. You think like me. And you've basically offloaded one of the many problems I saw in that video. Now, by show of yes or no in the chat, do you think that video was fake? A lot of people are saying that video was staged. A lot of people are saying that. I went back and even checked today, thousands more comments. Just scrolling, a lot of people thought it was staged. Did you think that video was staged? I'm not sure. And I'm leaning on no. It's not staged, but a lot of people thought it was staged. My man Dub Will says, not going to front. The first time I saw the video, it looked staged. A lot of people have the exact same sentiment that you have, bro. A lot of people do. Put the gun down. That's true. He spared his life. Sure as hell did. Never turn your back on a man with a firearm. Thank y'all. That when I saw that last part, I was like, no, he didn't. No, he did not. He turned his full back on old boy. Robert Williams says, this is real. It is real, bro. That was real, but we got to get real about it. It was a real situation. If it was not staged and if it was a true, reality situation, then I'm glad it happened. But y'all, I just got to say it, y'all. That's not going down like that. A majority of time, it is not going down like that. These type of videos, as I've said on those numerous posts that I responded to, this can give us hope for a better future, but that's all it's meant to do. Because I promise you, that situation is not going down like that. A majority of the time. Any man who has a burglar on his property, I don't want to see what happens if you stop to try to talk. I don't see that going down like that, especially if you've now brandished your firearm on them. Said he should have put the gun down. No, that's real. Tennessee gun law here. Okay. That's mercy. Yes. That was a lot of mercy granted on that. David Murphy said he turned his back and walked in the house. So dudes know you don't turn your back on an armed assailant. Mr. Rich says utopian skit. So Mr. Rich thinks it's staged. Raven Dillard says, depending on the state, the owner could have had his way. Oh, in Texas? Bye-bye. But I'm going to give you my rule. I'm going to give you my rule because we're going to talk about this in detail before I let y'all up. We're going to talk about this in detail. You said, I definitely respect the homeowner's stance. Okay. LCB says he can help turn that young man around. Now, let's discuss it. This is a good conversation, and obviously that's why we titled the show what we titled it today. That's a good conversation to have because it's not just about one occurrence, right? The reason why I'm seriously a skeptic, okay? I'm really a skeptic, not because of the boys. It's not about the boys in general. It's that no matter what you do for them, you're not their father, which means you don't have custody over that boy. And you have to send him back to the same hell he came from every single day. I'm telling you, one of the reasons I became an alpha was to help the youth. And that was a very sad day for me when I realized that no matter how much I tried to help, do the work of 99 to save one, you will be exhausted because you're sending these boys back to the same hell, to the same mama who's trying to put their hands on them, to the same environment that's trying to put them in gang activity, to the same somebody touching them. You send them back to hell every day. There's not much you can do. I'm trying to be real. This is why my stance on this is mentorship cannot replace fatherhood. It's a band-aid, if that. We cannot mentor people into walking straight. We have to father them into walking straight. Family got to be the number one priority. Put a 1 in the chat and send a super chat if you agree. Save the family. All right. My man EBD says, staged or not, this is what we needed to see. I can agree with that. I'm really hoping it wasn't staged. Like I said, these kind of occurrences, even though it wouldn't go down like that, are meant to give us hope. Dub Will with the $5 super chat says, from what I saw, the dude trying to break in didn't have his finger on the trigger. Elaborate on what you mean by that. You mean that he didn't well, you're not supposed to have your finger on the trigger either. Not until you're ready to shoot. That is the third law. The third rule of gun safety. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. It's called indexing. Keep it alongside. I got my pistol right here next to me, but I ain't gonna flash it on camera. All right, index on that pistol. Because if that was a real situation and you have adrenaline going through your body, if you have one of my triggers on your gun, you're gonna accidentally shoot somebody. I like my triggers at 2 pounds. The gun I just bought last week, this is a standard 4-pound trigger. All right. I like mine at 2 pounds because I shoot competition. No, you keep your finger off that trigger or somebody getting shot. All right, let's talk about it, man. Let me bring my man EBD up. What's going on, brother? Where you been at? That 20-year-old wearing your ass out. That's where you been.
Yeah. You know it. But I've been chilling. I've been watching your shows. Even though it's been later, I've been watching after. So I've been around. But man, this right here though, this on some other type level stuff. I just in the clip. I mean, this isn't what you typically see. Yeah, especially like you were saying down here in Texas. I mean, a lot of people down here trigger happy. Even for an Amazon driver doing his job or someone just walking down the street, you'll see a lot of neighbors packing heat, threatening people, trying stuff. This is something different. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, they could, if they wanted to stage it, they could have done it a lot better. They could have done it during the day so you can see their faces. They could have done it. I don't know. This could have gone a whole bunch of different directions, but you've never seen like two people, a person breaking in, attempting to break into a home, and then the homeowner coming out with a shotty, and then de-escalating. The homeowner's de-escalating, right, from the burglar, from the attempted burglar, and letting them know, like, hey, don't even need to be like this. You don't even need to go there. Just come, and then invites the burglar in the house for a talk. So. Because I think and I have to commend him, because being in his shoes, I would have done the same thing. And I've thought about this over and over again. I'm like, he can do one or two things. He could have turned him away and said, get the hell off my lawn or my property before I shoot you, or whatever. He could have called the police and had him in jail, but not a lot of people would have exercised his option, which is to try and save this young man from and what he's saying is, look, I've been where you are and I've been in your shoes. Come in this house and talk about a different way of handling business other than you trying to break in with a gun in your hand. So I think that's what the difference is between him and anybody else's house he would have broken into. Anybody else's house probably would have got shot dead. So I think he really lucked out.
Look, those are my sentiments exactly. So you basically broken it down almost to where I'm at with it. All right. You basically broken it down to where I'm at with it. First off, I'm in Texas. Okay. So what I was trying to tell people, because one of the things that really bothered me is that all of the women were like, yeah, this is what y'all should be doing. Okay. Well, because there are so many single women out here, y'all live alone. And y'all live with your children. Are you going to go out and confront a burglar and then try to talk to that little nigga? Are you going to do that? No. So it's very unrealistic a situation. But let me actually tell you the problem that I have with the homeowner and why this is complete bad advice to be giving. First off, once firearms are drawn, that situation ain't going down like that. Now, here's the funny thing about it. This situation, if it was real, if it was not staged. The homeowner was about to blow his freaking head off. It was only until the boy matched force with force and pulled out his own gun. I want you to watch that video again very closely. He said, whoa, what you doing? You see what I'm saying? He only wanted to de-escalate once force was matched with force. That's not going down like that. Now, number two thing that I really got an issue with. You see the boy tugging on the doors and all of that. Then he kind of steps back. You don't give away your position. When somebody burglarizes a home, there's usually 4 to 6 assailants. Usually 4 to 6 of them. So you don't give away your position. I've made it so in my house, if I know where my spots are that I can shoot upstairs, because that's the 4th rule of gun safety. Identify your target and what is behind it. So I know I can't shoot into my kid's room from certain angles. So, but when I'm downstairs, I have a spot where I can hide. If you come in through the front, if you come in through the back, you're getting your fucking head blown off, right? I don't give away my position, because even if I'm pointing at the person I see, there might be 2 behind them coming to get me. So that was very. I would never advise anybody to do what that homeowner did. But Trey, let me get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, I've always said that a lot of people who carry weapons would never bust a fruit fight. I think this is a prime example that even though you have a weapon doesn't mean that you'll actually use it. I think a lot of people who have weapons feel as though that when the situation presents itself that, oh, I could do that. Well, if you've never actually pulled the trigger and actually had a round go through flesh, you don't know what it feels like, and you don't know whether or not you would be able to do it in real time. I think that's a prime example. It always reminds me of that video. You guys remember the video? There's a gate with 2 barking dogs. The dogs are barking at each other. There's a gate in between them. It's a sliding gate. The gate slides and opens. The dogs stop barking at each other, because now it's real. Now you can actually fight. What are you going to do about it? No, you're not going to do anything. I also agree with you. Took what I was going to say, Trigger Mike. Fellas, if you're going to protect anything, you have to take a tactics, cover and concealment class, and understand how to use the shadows, how to use the walls around you. The number one thing that you never do is go through a door. That's number one. We don't go through doors. Doors will get you killed going through doors. So a lot of this is wrong. He's got a shotgun. He needs to be at a position of advantage, and he's not in a position of advantage at all. That's the number one thing that you're taught. So I'm all for him, sparing this kid's life. Me personally, I cannot tell you I would have done the same thing. Having been shot at, I cannot tell you I would have spared his life, especially after he pulled out his own weapon. I think that would have escalated things for me. I do believe in play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And if you're going to come onto my property and play stupid games, then you're going to get what's coming to you. I have a family to protect. I have myself to protect. And I in my opinion, I couldn't take those chances. And the last thing I'll say is, Trigger Mike, you alluded to it earlier, but for those of you who don't know, it only takes somewhere between 4 to 8 pounds of pressure to pull a trigger. It does not take much. In most cases, you can rip somebody's ear off with the same amount of pressure, just to give you a visual. So you cannot play these games when somebody pulls a weapon out on you, especially when they aren't trained. Now, sure, if I pull one on you, I know to keep my finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard unless I'm ready to use it. But I've had 15 to 20 years of training. I'm different. That kid has no training. I can't tell whether or not, I saw somebody say it looks like his finger was off the trigger. I can't tell whether it is or it isn't. And what I don't need for him to do is to get startled or be scared, and then boom, he shoots. And then what you guys don't know, we talk about this on the department all the time, you have what we call sympathy pulls. Somebody shoots and then everybody else starts shooting. Yep. If you ever watch these videos with these cops, that's what that is. One person shot and everybody else just like bang, 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 bang. And that you just complete chaos at that point. So what you don't want is for him to get startled. He pulls the trigger and then you react and you pull the trigger. Now you shot, he shot, nobody can help anybody. Y'all both bleed out, right? So in this particular case, I hope that the lesson is, I hope that the message going forward to these young kids is the same message I used to try to tell them all the time. You got to try to find a way. And I understand that it's rough out here. It's tough out here for a lot of people. But you can't go onto people's property because everybody may not spare your life like that guy did.
All right. Excellent. All right, Mr. Payne, what are your thoughts? Did you see the video?
Yeah, I saw the video. I believe it's a skit. I think a lot of these videos are skits. But one of the reasons I thought your guy said all the expert stuff. I just find it really hard to believe that that kid would have that kind of restraint when the guy came out with a gun.
Yep.
He would have put up his gun. He would have shot right away.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a street kid, he would have just shot right away out of panic or whatever else. He wasn't going to sit down. And the fact that he got his gun up, meaning the owner had to have a lot of restraint. But I don't think the kid would have got up, put his gun up without shooting. I mean, we see all these shootouts. These guys just start blasting away, So, I just think it was a skit. The thing about him turning his back and asking him to come in the house. I mean, but, there's a message even in the skits, right? But I'm not so sure how good this message is, because if somebody takes this message as a homeowner think they could talk a person down, they could be getting themselves killed.
Yep. Realistically, that's just what it is. That situation not going down like that, no matter what no one says, a majority of the time. Trevor, my man.
Hey, how y'all doing, fellas?
Hey, we're chilling. What's your opening thoughts on it, bro?
I don't know. I'm kind of trying to figure out if this skit is real or not, because I've seen some scenarios like this in real life, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. In my book, I would have shot that nigga before he even pulled that pistol out off top. Ain't no way you walking the walk. I got a family to take care of, man. I got daughters to protect. I got sons, you know what I'm saying, and wives and family members and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's a tough situation, though. I'm not gonna front. That even though it may have been a fake skit, it's kind of bringing back memories, So it's hard to sit here and try to throw it to the side, because at one point in time that could have been me. Most of the dudes I know that's been in that situation, they not living. They either not living or they in prison, handicapped. So, yeah, man, that's I don't know. It's just something about the skit. Like, even if it is a skit, it really hits home.
Yeah.
Like, it really do.
All right, Dr. Steele, let's get some of that wisdom.
Well, if I hear somebody break into my house, even though I have a gun and I would have it on me, I still would try to hide somewhere and see if I could get in contact with the police. I don't know if the police department have a system where you can just text what's happened, because if I call, I could give away my position like that. Mm-hmm. So I would try to still hide, still have my gun on me. And because my way, I have to do what I have to do. I have to pull my trigger before he pulls his, if he has a weapon.
Normally, your wife will call. Your wife will call while you handle your business at the same time. That's the point of, she's supposed to be the second line of defense. You the first, right? So while you here and you trying to protect your family, she's on the phone with them, and everybody can hear the conversation. She's gathering all the kids in one room, like Trigger Mike has trained himself and probably his wife and kids to meet in one room and stay right here until I come back. So that's what normally happens.
Yeah. If I do have a family, I would make sure I hide them first before I hide myself. But that was, let me say something about the guy with the shotgun. And by the way, that's a high caliber weapon he had. Shotgun. It could outdo. Well, I mean, the little guy can still shoot first, but it could outdo that little pistol he has. But for him to tell him, look, I've been where you at, and try to teach him some sense. You're not going to see that in real. Well, you would not see that. That's the first time I've ever seen something like that. Because, like I said, I would hide and have my gun with me. But to tell him And that look, he been where the young man is at, which means he had some experience, and in some ways it sort of showed too. But to do that, um, it tells me he's community oriented
Mm-hmm.
to me. He cares about the black community. Otherwise, somebody would have been dead or arrested.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough, dude. Like the, normally it's the after the situation where if the dude survives, like the little kid or whatever it is, then the adult will try to have a conversation with him. At least that's what I grew up on, you know. But that's a tough situation, man. And the
Yeah,
fact
and
that
I
I
I,
know
I
back.
really got to tell you, Dr. Steele, as somebody who literally trains for this particular moment, meaning I do my bed rollout and my weapons grab, cocked and locked, ready to go hunt. If there are 4 to 6 burglars per burglary occurrence, they've already talked about the method in which they're going to ransack your house. They can see I live in a 2-story house. 3 are going to stay downstairs. 2 are going to come upstairs. You're not going to have time to hide. I've literally run from my front door, bolted up the steps to my bedroom door, to my kids' door. They can get to my children's bedroom door in under 5 seconds and to my door in under 7 seconds if they're like jumping up the steps 3 at a time. Walk through the game room to my room 3 at a time. 7 seconds, you ain't hiding nowhere. As soon as they bust through their door, boom, like, you know what I mean, like that. So we just got to understand that your only option literally is to meet force with force. Second you see one, light them up. Keep moving through. Because now the way I got to think about it is, if my house gets burglarized in the middle of the night, where am I most likely to be? In my bedroom, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to find a way to get from my room through the game room to my children's room.
Exactly.
Anybody that I see on the way is catching one. There is no time to hide, no time to think or be methodical or strategize. You literally coming out blasting. So, that's the reality I want to leave people with, and do the rollout like I do. I'll teach. If you are really worried about keeping a loaded gun in your house, I will teach you Mike's method. Hit me up on Instagram, but you will be cocked and locked, ready to rock in under 3 seconds with my method. All right.
Well, so you triggered Mike. That's why I was saying, like, you most likely, I don't know if every other man, but normally, if you like what you was just talking about, you calculated, the situation. You practiced the situation. You actually took matters and probably trained your wife and kids. If this situation happened. Now, on average, most dudes don't do that. I'm gonna be honest.
You're right.
Most dudes don't even. They just got a pistol, and that's that. Most women, they just got a pistol, and that's that. They don't, like Trey said. When reality hit, it's a different ball game. It's a different ball game.
Hey, did number one stunner go yet?
No, he didn't go. My man, what's going on? Welcome to the Trigger Mike Show.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. So, again, I really do hope that was a skit, because, again, like everyone has said, dropping your weapon and turning your back on a would-be assailant is the silliest thing I've seen in a long time. When I saw that video for the first time, and again, I don't train people with weapons, but I do train with weapons, right? So I was watching it from a tactical perspective. And first of all, he should have, if he was going to contact the burglar without just blasting him, he should have did that through the door or through the window. He should have not have opened up the door and came outside. Now, depending on what state he live in, he steps outside with that shotty, and he's now brandishing a weapon, and he could catch a charge for that, depending on what city and state he live in, even with the burglar standing right there, right? And then lastly, I just don't know anyone who has lived as long as that man. The man in the video looked like he's about all our ages, somewhere between 35 and 55 and 55, somewhere in there. I just don't understand how someone with that long of life experience could take this person so lightly and invite him into the house and all that. He still has no idea who this person is and what they're capable of. And he invites them into his domicile with his family. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, yeah. I concur, man. Yeah. I'm still not talking through the window, but I concur with everything else.
I wouldn't, to be honest with you, Trigger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said anything to him either. But for the people who feel like they have to, or they would have at least, said, hey, get away from here or whatever, I wouldn't have done that. But I would have done through the window before I opened that door.
In most houses, you don't need to open a window or a door. He'd still be able to hear you. You could stand right at that door. Well, I wouldn't stand at the door, but you could stand close enough to the door and say, hey, I can see you. I am armed. If you come in here, I'll use lethal force, whatever verbiage you want to use, right? But you could have said it loud enough that he could hear you, and that he more than likely, and that's probably what I would have done. Hey, I can see you. You can't see me, but I can see you. And if you don't turn around and leave, this is not going to go well for you. Because you have no idea where I am, but I can see everything you're doing. Yeah. And that's why I said he had to get. You guys have to understand where the advantage points are in your home. And if you're a man right now listening to the sound of my voice, and you're in your house and you don't know where to go if some shit break down in your house, you need to take a second and actually walk around your house and say, if the person came through my back door, where should I be? If a person came through a window, where should I be? Where should I go? Your weapons should be strategically placed in your home just in case somebody comes in on every single level of your home. Every single level of your home, you should have a weapon strategically placed in case the person comes in, because you don't know where you may be in that home at that time. We have to start taking this stuff seriously. Obviously he's probably not a bad kid. He's probably got caught up, and some stuff he shouldn't have been caught up in. But you're playing a dumb game. You're playing a really, really dumb game here that doesn't end well for most people that are in that situation.
Trey, before I stopped doing what I was doing, bro, my last lick literally ended up with 2 shots to the leg. Real talk. 12 years old, my last one. 2 licks to the leg. And I'm in Columbus, finally out of the dock in the light, sitting fucking with holes in my legs. And one of them got infected after that. So, yeah, man, and to number one Stunner's point, normally, if a dude, like, literally try to talk to a younger dude, it's normally because he's been in his shoes and somebody let him off the same way.
That part makes sense.
What happens. It might have been that one time where God saved that dude and it was like, yo, I'm going to let you ride on this one, but we can have this conversation.
And that's how that older dude got where he got. That's why he has the house that he has. That's why he's still alive. That's why he has a gun in his house, because he's been in that person's shoes before. And he knows that it's all about money. He already knew what it was. He said, come in the house. Let's talk about it. Now, that's not something within everybody's natural instinct. I get that. But to have that kind of humanity for someone whose experience that you share is something unique. It ain't 9 times out of 10. It's 1 time out of 10. And we have to talk about the 1 time out of 10. Just because we don't see it on the news every day or everywhere doesn't mean it don't happen. So this 1 out of 10 times, yeah, we got to talk about it. But I'd really hate for everyone on YouTube streets to say, oh, well, yeah, I just would have shot him. I mean, the lack of humanity because someone shows humanity 1 time out of 10, do we really need to shit on that person for what he did?
No. Let me ask you a question.
I don't think anybody's shitting on him for what he did. I think what he did is to be commended. What I am shitting on is his tactics. I think he could have done everything that he did and never shown his face on that camera.
No,
he literally could have done everything that he did. He could have done it from a place of advantage where he was safe. He still could have had that guy put his weapon down and come in the house and come and talk to him, and he could have never put himself at a disadvantage ever. So the only thing I'm shitting on is his tactics.
Let me ask this, Trey. Let me ask this. Mike and them guys are used to guns. If you're a new gun owner, right, and you're saying when it's a moment of truth, if you're not used to guns, you don't know what you're going to do. How do you get somebody past that point where they can act when they're supposed to act? And how do you know you got there? You know what I'm saying? In training, you know what I'm saying?
So that's an excellent question, as a matter of fact. So I'll go first. What it's training. That's all it is. So when people, two of the ladies that I had in my class that I taught yesterday bought their gun the day before. And one of them is in a custody battle and the ex is stalking her. So that's why she bought her gun and bought my class. And the other one lives alone with her son in a bad neighborhood in Houston. And they've had some break-ins happen, or attempted break-ins happen. So they asked the exact same question. How do I gain proficiency enough? I said, I'm going to teach you the fundamentals, but you are going to need to train, because in that situation that we're talking about, your instinct is going to take over. Most people don't even know. You're not even going to aim the gun. You're not even going to use your iron sights. You are going to do what we call point shooting. So you're going to need to train.
Kentucky windage.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to point shoot. So if you have not trained on that gun, you might shoot what's behind you. You might send a round into your neighbor's house. So it is just consistent. I give them all the drills during our live fire to say, these are the drills you need to be doing. Don't sit there and static shoot. You need to learn how to transition from the body to the head on a failure to stop drill, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. Like, what if the person's on cocaine? What if they're on drugs? We had a meth addict. I don't know how the hell that well, I do live around a bunch of white people, so maybe that's how that happened. We had a meth addict or somebody, lady was strung out, banging on everybody's door. So let's say she would have came through my door. I shot her once in the chest because she's on drugs. Her body won't go into shock like a normal person would. I shoot her again. She's not stopping. I'm going to have to transition to the head, right? So you teach them drills and they have to train. I tell them at least once a month, but I prefer once a week. Grab a shirt from one of these ranges around here where they have free t-shirt member night. Take 50 rounds, practice your transitions, because that moment, it's not you thinking your way through it. It's your instinct taking over and doing the work.
That's a factor.
I would also say that if you're someone who sees the humanity in the gremlins, then you probably, regardless of the training, you're not going to do what's need to be done. Now, the difference, I'm in my mid to late 40s. I see a difference in the street criminal of my youth and the one of today. Are those differences all their fault? No, but there is a difference. And I'm also willing to bet you that there have been incidences like on that video where the man tried to extend humanity and grace to the criminal, and the criminal domed him or domed her. I guarantee that's happened too. So we just have to always keep in mind that the environment right now, I would say, puts the street the street criminal, the home invader, I think they just are a little bit more about it than the ones before, and they don't see humanity in you. So you just better be careful in trying to extend that leaf.
Hey, Rich, one thing we haven't talked about is adrenaline. We haven't even factored in adrenaline and how that affects your body, and that's really where a lot of the fight and flight sort of stuff comes in, because you have a something running through your veins that most people, you don't get it normally. Like me, with the job that I had, it was every day for me, so I learned how to control it. Right, I learned how to control it over a while. But you have a lot of people. Remember the police officer female who mistaked her gun for her taser? That's adrenaline. She's not training enough, right? So that's why she's all over the place. She can't. So we haven't even factored in the adrenaline factor. You can have as much training as you want. You can train once a week, but until you understand how to control your adrenaline, you still can make mistakes. And Trigger gave great advice. That's great advice. But the other part of that training is being able to control your heart rate, your breathing. Yep. Right? There's a lot of this that goes into this, or else you will make a mistake. I promise you.
Yeah. That's why we don't want our finger on the trigger, that adrenaline. Boy, I can't
exactly.
If I violate, boy, pow. All my triggers are light. All my triggers are light. Let me get this super chat read real quick. My man, Smooth, Chew the Fat with Smooth Podcast, $10. Appreciate that, big dog. Supreme Court fixed it so even us in New Jersey can now conceal carry. Protect yourself and be responsible. 2-pound trigger, bro. I shoot competition.
Yo,
man.
that 2 pounds crazy, bro.
No. I just copped this Springfield Echelon, the new thing they got out. That has a 4-pound, but I'm gonna be tempted when they start bringing out the aftermarket stuff. If I see 2.5, I'm going
like
with
that
it.
Springfield.
My follow-up shot's a killer. Huh?
Mike, have you tried have you tried the Canic? Have you tried the trigger on the Canics?
Trigger, Mike? You don't think I've tried it? No, so I have a because I sell them too, and I kept one of those Rival S models for a few months and sold it. So I think the Walther PDP trigger is better, the super performance or whatever it's called, dynamic performance. But no, Canic literally, let me tell y'all what these ladies brought, these two ladies that brought guns to my class yesterday. Lady bought a High Point and talk about, is this a good? She brought a High Point.
That's the dope boy gun.
How much did you pay for it?
That's the dope boy gun.
I said, lady, they make Canics now in maybe $50 more in the same price point, and literally that might be the best out of the box gun you can get. Literally the best one. This Echelon may, but it's not in that price point. At the 600, it's better than a Glock value. It is, but Canic is the best out of the box gun. You'd have paid $50 more. You bought a High Point. I didn't even let her use it. I let her shoot my gun.
Hey, Trigger, real quick. I don't mean to derail the comment, but I got a question for you. What do you think about the Staccato P?
I have two. What do you mean? What do I think?
Okay, I just want to. Okay.
I have two of them. I got a ported one and a non-ported.
Well,
I don't have.
I'm asking because I'm looking at it. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. No. So as far as Staccato is concerned, the 2011 platform, that's what everybody's trying to do. That's the gold standard right now. So I just ordered last week a Masterpiece Arms DS9 hybrid. So look at those two, and once you get a look at the aesthetics of the Masterpiece Arms one, you might be changing your mind on Staccato. But I'm gonna shoot that one in USPSA limited optics. So I don't want to shoot my Staccatos. I just like them for like duty, out on the range, class use, you know what I mean, that type of stuff. So, but once you shoot a Staccato, bro, you're not going back.
I'm still stuck on shooting my Hellion. I don't know if you know what that is.
You said Hellion?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all keep insulting me like I don't know what the modern platform is. Yeah, no, that's like slowly taking over as the best bullpup, or everybody's favorite bullpup rather. And the Tavor was everybody's favorite bull. The IWI Israeli joint, that was everybody's favorite bullpup. But now the Hellion's starting to take over though. Y'all got me talking guns. That is not what this. We have an episode called "Save the Youth," and y'all crazy. Y'all literally talk about
Mike. Before you move on, man, let me ask you this question real quick though. Have you seen the video of the DEA agent who's in front of all the kids?
Yeah,
and he's like,
with the dreads.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on, bro. That video was played I bought an LTC presentation from someone to teach with. That video is in that particular training. Hilarious, boy. He was trying to walk it off. That was the part where I couldn't take it. Like I laugh every time. He's like, "Ooh."
Hey, he a hell of a dude, though. He's a hell of a dude because he took that round and he walked it off.
He walked
it off.
Hey, just go when you get a chance. Go to YouTube and Google DEA officer shoots himself. No, now mind you, for those of you who have not, this is at an elementary school teaching kids about gun safety. So yeah, if you have not seen it, the DEA agent, he has dreadlocks, he talking, pow, shoots himself. Like, yo, that video is legendary, man. That's legendary. All right, y'all, what's up, King? Holla at us real quick.
What's going on, my guy? How y'all doing?
We chilling, bro.
Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Perfect. I got a quick question for y'all before I blast off on this. In y'all opinion, what's the most disrespectful thing a person, a complete stranger can do to you?
Spit on me.
Yep.
I concur. I concur.
Mm-hmm. Spit on you. Anything else?
Talk is cheap, but you that's assault. Yeah, if you spit on me, it's a wrap.
Spitting.
Spitting is worse than punching. Yeah, spitting is worse than punching.
Mm-hmm. And we all have extremely strong feelings about that, right? We would all react a certain way if a person spits on you, right?
Yep.
Okay. That same emotion that I carry if a random ass person, if I'm out somewhere and this person spits on me, I take that same fire, that same emotion, that same instant reaction to just pop the hell off if a person violates my peace in my home. This is my home. You know what I'm saying? This is where this house I've just had it built. Okay? I moved out to the burbs, moved my family out to the burbs, so they don't have to experience what I did. I did all of the ratchet shit. I experienced it all, so that the people who live under this roof, those little boys that are downstairs playing in a game room, don't have to. So my wife don't ever have to worry about her safety. You know what I mean? So for my mother-in-law, my mom, my grandmother, when they are here, same thing. They do not have to worry about their safety. If you find it inside of your heart to bring some shit here, bruh, I'm sorry. There's nothing for me and you to talk about. There's nothing for me and you to talk about. The only thing that you are getting is a couple of these hollow points. That's it. That's all I got for you. Because for me as a man, right, I respect everybody the same. You know what I mean? I give everybody the very same respect. I would never violate a person's space, a person's home, a person's safety, a person's family. I would never cross that line. So you think you about to bring your ass here? Where these damn taxes, these damn property taxes high as hell, where the closing cost on this damn house was high as hell, where the private school that my kids go to is high as hell. You think you about to come here and violate this? Hey, shout out. I don't know if it was a skit or not. And all of y'all gave really courageous answers. Power to the damn people. But I'm not there yet. Okay? I need some therapy, or I don't know what the hell wrong. Y'all talk about talking to people and hiding. Hell no. I got 100 rounds up under this right here. All right? And 91 of them is getting let off. So, you know, hey, my brothers. I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to be just like y'all when I grow up.
You know what? But King, let me tell you on the real. So Trey spoke the truth about the adrenaline. Everybody we can talk about this measured reaction and compassionate reaction we're gonna have to that. It's not gonna go down that way. That forceful kick of your door being kicked open.
Yep.
So with my children in the house, nope.
Yeah. Listen, that's
nope.
Yeah, that's
bang,
why
bang,
I said,
bang, bang, bang.
That's why I said, yeah, me personally, yeah, he would have got his head snatched off. It wasn't no before you up the weapon on me or none of that. It would have been gone.
This is what we call in my advanced class, we have a drill called moving through targets, not hiding behind them. I'm moving through them. So, you know, where people hide thinking the person's not going to pop out and they literally just walk up on you, pop out. That target moves through, pop out, pop out.
Because think about it. Every second that you are not engaging, whoever you are trying to protect in your house, right? They are in jeopardy, right?
Yep.
I don't give a damn what happens to me. But that woman that I lay next to every night, those boys that are downstairs, oh no. I will protect them with my life. So to me, It ain't no hiding. We ain't playing hide and seek up in this. The only thing we playing is Russian roulette, and I promise you, I'm winning.
I guess I'm a little bit sadistic because I'm gonna have some fun with him.
Nah,
I know my house
hell
better.
nah.
I know my house better than you do. I'm gonna have a little fun with you.
Nah,
So you old boy from Die Hard.
Nah.
You old boy from Die Hard. You like to smoke a cigarette and talking about some where that nigga at, honey. Yeah, you crazy, bro.
Hey, Trucker, I'm gonna have some fun in the shadows in my house. I'm gonna have some fun. I'm a little bit sadistic though.
Let me throw this.
Look, when they see that laser and they can't figure out where that laser, where's that laser coming from? I'm gonna have some fun.
No, they're gonna
How y'all
prosecute you
derail
for
my
that.
topic like this? I don't know.
Hey, for real, that's premeditated murder.
We said save the youth, not shoot the youth. This is not what we talking about.
Hold up, Trigger, my Trigger. Hold up. Some of these kids, listen, y'all can't be. Listen, some of these kids be knowing what they're doing. Hey, I learned my lesson the hard way, so they can learn their lesson the hard way too. All right, some of them live, some of them go on and be better men than and this, that, and third. But the point is, you got to learn your lesson one way or another. Because if it ain't gonna be me, who might try to let you survive after I hit you with two, right? You might run up on a woman who gonna let all 170 bullets. to your face.
That's true.
And
Look,
she gonna be justified too.
The number one thing that I said with all those women in on the Shade Room comments, this is the grace needed to be shown. I'm like, listen, my adrenaline is gonna be going, but I'm gonna behave accordingly, like a camera is on me, right? So I'm gonna have to might still see a day in court. So I'm not about to be letting fuck you rounds off in anybody's body. These ladies, you gonna be scared as shit. You dumping the whole clip on that dude. Okay, so get out of here. Women are the only ones in Texas that don't get in trouble for shooting a man through the door. All right, y'all be scared as hell. Dude be banging on the door, get shot. Lady get cleared. Y'all be shooting dudes before you even see their face.
Exactly.
So I didn't want to hear that.
I agree, Mike, and more than likely, if they're the ones behind the door, they're gonna randomly just let off, right?
Yep.
But then they will demand in a chat room over the internet that you give a dude grace. And let me throw this out there and kind of see what y'all think about this. This is a running idea that I've been having for years about, like, because so many of us grow up in public housing, we don't really get an understanding or a appreciation for private property as young people. Me personally, I grew up in public housing, and I never had to cut the grass. I never had to pick up litter. That was never my concern. My mom was never like, watch that, pick up that, take care of this. It was public. And I often feel like, because of course even when you move to the burbs, like I believe we all probably have, right? They will find a way to put a housing project near you or low income housing near you. And what ends up happening is those kids end up straying out of that neighborhood and into the greater community. And they behave in the greater community like we generally behave in the public housing. And I think there's a disconnect there that could be bridged if we just discuss that.
There was a such thing as the DARE program.
That shit ain't work.
That shit ain't work.
All right, let me get this.
But at least people tried, though. At least people tried.
Let me get this super chat read. My man Big Ant, $10. Appreciate that. Says, Mike, you need to stop with the staccato P. That gun is for players. You ain't no player. I'm the biggest player you ever seen. Okay. Now, don't put your collection up against my collection. All right. Don't nobody know what your collection look like, Big Ant. You can go on Instagram and see my collection. All right. But I'm gonna put the I don't want to get it dinged. Go look at that Masterpiece Arms DS9 Hybrid I'm about to buy. That's probably gonna put the staccato P to shame.
You think
that was $3,000 plus tax. So that's a player's gun. If you ain't got one of them, I ain't got mine yet. It's on order, but
I might have to look into that for real.
Yeah,
my wives, they got the FN joints, and that actually because I actually sent their ass to training. Thank God. Had that kidnapping situation where she blasted dude and got out of that situation. You feel me? But had she not went to them training, classes,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what would have happened, man. I think my son would have
And,
been gone.
and think about and just real quick, right? I had for Christmas this past Christmas, because just like Trey, I have firearms in each and every level of my house, right?
Right.
Before we moved in here, you know what I mean. Before this house was done being built, at the previous house, same thing, firearms in every single level of the house. So we only been here for a week, so now I got to learn the new layout of this house. You know what I mean, and how to properly proceed if something was to ever happen. I hope it don't, because somebody ain't walking out of here breathing. But the reason why I take that protection of my family so serious. This past Christmas, I bought my ladies a gun, right? Bought them all a gun, right? And they literally could not cock it back. Bought them a 9. That was probably a little too much. It was
Yeah,
a 9. It was a 9.
He
Okay,
said
I
they couldn't cock back.
no, they couldn't. They
bro.
literally could not cock it back.
Both ladies
That's
in
so
my class
true.
yesterday couldn't do it.
Couldn't cock it
The
back.
That's so true.
Smith and Wesson Shield EZ9. That's what you got to get for
Mm.
women who have trouble with that. It makes
Yeah.
all of that stuff easy. The rack in the slide is like butter. Loading the rounds is like butter in the magazine. So that's the gun for people who really struggle. But you got to get them to put their hand in the back, and what they do is pull without pushing. So you got to get them to do this a bunch of times to get used to it, and then teach them how to lock the slide back, and that's how they'll get the hand strength to do it all the time.
Yeah, literally. So one of them literally grabbed it and literally was like, you know.
Oh man, the good old days, bro.
And the other one just, and I get it, they are not violent, you know what I mean? That's not what they do, you know what I mean? They just, feminine women, so when that protection aspect of you being a man 100% falls on you, when the people that are around you are not able to, it's just like you know what I mean, if you were with your mom or your grandma, you know what I mean, them you know what I mean, in their later years they can't protect themselves, you know what I mean, or not like they used to. So that protection 100% falls on you, and when that protection weight falls on you, you are going to respond, you know what I mean, and the way you are going to respond is harshly if somebody crosses that line, because I know that these particular people who I have to protect cannot protect themselves. You're done.
I think one of these things that I always try to get across to these youth when I was out there is that, yeah, I'm cool. This officer's cool. I'm cool, right? I can let some things go away because I know how to talk my way out of things. But you may encounter somebody else who's not cool, and they might throw the entire book on you, and you don't want to take that chance. You don't want to take that chance. And it's the same thing when they play these games. Listen, that guy, like I said, he's to be commended, right? He didn't do what most people would have done. But why put yourself in that position? Why take that chance? Because there may next time, if there is a next time, I hope that there isn't a next time. But if there is a next time, you may come across one of us that's on this panel.
Well, Trey, sometimes people's bodies take over, bro. Like I was with my ex-girlfriend and her sister, right? And we went to this little house party or some shit, right? And I guess the families was finally meeting, because they was getting ready to get married, or one of her cousins was getting ready to get married. But come to find out, one side was on this territory and the other side was on that territory. And somehow, everybody got drunk, and you already know how that went. And I remember the dude going back to the car and going to go get his pistol because the dumbass younger brother was starting some bullshit, trying to play tough. And I had my body's reaction just was like, yo, like I jumped right in front of it. I got cussed out after though, but it's just like my body was, yo, no, you know, like no. And then he just ran to the car and just peeled off, but it could have went the other way. Feel
All
me?
right, let's get the goddamn this. I forgot what the topic was for today because of y'all.
Can the youth be saved, bro?
Damn.
No, I tried to bring it back.
I'd rather. Okay. So what I would say real quick. What I would say before you get to this thing. But what I would say is I know y'all are gonna be the more firearm expert than I am. I don't have a firearm. Never bought one. Held an empty one once upon a time.
DVD.
I got you. Hang on. I got you. Hang on. Time out. But what I'm saying is to the topic though. We've seen too many times, 9 times out of 10, how it goes sideways, how it goes wrong, how it goes left, people getting shot, people getting deleted. When we see something that plays out this way, I mean, I'd rather have it a cautionary tale of, he had no business trying to break into the house. First of all, in the first place, he could have been shot, and he could have been another cautionary tale of, hey, you ain't supposed to be even doing this in the first place, bro. But when we see this thing that we don't see every day on the news, local or international or otherwise, I mean, it's just worth talking about. Not to say that everybody on this panel, everybody should be doing this kind of things, like extending that humanity. I'm just saying it's so rare to see it. It's hard to even fathom anybody even playing this out in their head or in their home or in that scenario. So I mean, what does it say to where this is the exception and not the rule?
Damn.
Do you think it's a rare occurrence?
It's my turn. It's my turn, boys.
It has to be 1 out of 10.
All right,
EBD, I can answer that for you.
I'm just messing. You guys go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
The reason why is because we know the destruction of what a weapon can do. I think that's why. That's why we don't talk about it. We know we are very well versed in knowing what weapons can do to someone. So if somebody pulls out a weapon, it's like, I know what if you pull that 2 pounds of pressure, I hope it's not 2 pounds of pressure, but if it is, I know that you can end my life. So I think that's why you don't see the stories about the compassion that this man showed, because most people will say what we're saying, like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Because we know what could happen. But I don't necessarily disagree with you, EBD. I would love to see more stories like this. But what I don't want is to see kids thinking that this is the norm now, and that I could do this.
No, not at all.
That my life will be spared because we have compassion now, when in actuality, you should never been in there in the first place.
So there are situations that happen like y'all remember the video of the dude where he went inside to the store? Yeah, I think it was like a black Benz or something like that. And a dude walked up and tried to steal his car, but he upped the pistol on him. And then he had a conversation with the young dude.
Yeah,
I seen that.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, these occurrences happen. It's just they're never really shared. Like that car situation. Yo, I've seen that a few times. They just never really shared, because in reality, most people like dude said, when he dropped the weapon and walked in the house and left the dude behind me. Nah, I'm keeping my shit up. Matter of fact, you're not even allowed in my crib. We're gonna have this conversation here and now.
I want you to play that video again, Trigger. I don't think he put the weapon down.
No, he didn't.
I think he walks in behind with it in his hand.
It was
right
in his hand
on the grill. You don't think so?
That's another reason
I think it's
why
in his
people think
hand,
it's
Trucker,
fake.
when he walks in.
You never put it down.
Can you play that one more time?
It's some good Samaritans.
Yeah, you can just play the end
panel.
if you want, Trigger.
Some good Samaritans.
Come talk to me. I'm putting mine down now. Come on in. Come talk to me, man. This is my brother, man. All right, my little brother. Let's talk about your little brother in the house, dog. Let's get from out here. All right.
Turn your back.
Turned his whole back.
Yeah, so it's in his left hand. He never puts it down.
I was about to kill you on the grass, but now I'm gonna kill you in your house. That's what I saw. I'm sorry. Damn. I was trying to get in the house. Now you invited me in the house with my gun. Oh God.
With my gun.
Yeah.
Power to the people.
He had lawn furniture.
That's
They just
crazy,
sat
right?
down.
That's
They
crazy
had
right
two
there.
chairs. They had two chairs right there on that patio where
That's
they
an
could have
excellent. That's an
where they
excellent
could have
point.
that's what I'm
EBD. That's
saying
an
right there.
excellent point. That's an excellent point, EBD.
That's why I'm saying if we would have had this conversation outside, and stuff like that, and maybe my wife probably would have came downstairs and said everything good, and I told her go back upstairs. But we would have sat right there and had this conversation with my shotgun on my lap.
And not only that, I would have taken that weapon from him and I would have cleared it.
Exactly.
That would have been mine.
I think that's the first thing. The first thing would be a disarm him before talking about anything else, especially come in the house. I agree with that 100%.
That was foolish.
Oh my God!
Need you to put that.
This is
now,
depressing.
Now, ladies,
this is
I want
so
the ladies to
damn
send me
depressing
all
right
the
now.
ladies on Shade Room and Instagram. I want you to send me the video of you showing grace to the boy, then inviting him in your house with the weapon. I want to see that video.
Trigger, come on, man. We, bruh, what the hell? Let's get y'all talking
what's depressing?
About having tea and crumpets with this dude.
Yeah.
That's okay. This goes to my point. We see the lack of humanity every single day in our community when it comes to us dealing with police, when it comes to us dealing with neighborhoods, when it comes to our children playing with toy guns in the playground, when it comes to us walking into Walmart trying to buy a whatever. We don't see this. We don't see this every day. So it seems like you can't even fathom humanity. That's what it sounds like.
All right, let's get back on track. All right, so I'm gonna let Ikene, brother Ikene, you're gonna answer this next question we got. All right, because it's actually about the youth. Somehow we ended up putting caps in the youth ass. So now we're gonna figure out how we're gonna save them. All right, we're gonna figure out how we're gonna save these little mugs. How have we?
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
How have we failed our youth, brother Ikene? You first.
How have we failed our youth?
How we failed.
Yeah, yes. How have we failed our youth? That's the question, right?
Yes.
We failed our youth because we became dumb parents, you know. We don't teach them tradition. We took away tradition for our own selfishness. Some of us want to live our life as parents. So we're not guiding our youths how to be youths. We're not teaching them tradition. We're not teaching them culture. We're not teaching them a lot of things. We're not teaching our women how to be women and our men how to be men. Men have to provide and protect, but before that, you have to first be a man before you provide to a woman. But you have to also choose who to provide and protect. You can't just go out there and get any woman and say, I'm going to provide and protect for her. So when you choose the right woman will help you to raise your kids in a proper way that you as a parent, as a dad, wants that child to be raised. Because a man that grew up among men always want to do things right as a man, because his children, his male sons, are the greatest things that he can bring up. So by so doing, you teach them, you hand over the next greatest thing to them, and that is culture, to build the next generation, to inherit the culture. When the culture of your tradition is paramount in your heart, you will do anything to walk upright, to be a man of truth, to be a man of responsibility. In so doing, you want to raise the best in the community so that your last name, which you cherished so much more than anything, can be upheld. But if you don't do that, if you're not raised to be that, how are you going to make our youth the youth of tomorrow? If you don't have that in you, of course you're going to fail the youth, because you can't give what you don't have. You just can't do it. But when you are not given something that you don't have, what do? You seek for it. Because if you seek, you will find. You will find what you're seeking for. So go seek that which you don't have. Look for men in the community to inspire you. I'm not talking about drug dealers. No. I'm talking about real men, true men, men that have shame. Men that have shame. because shame is what makes a man walk upright. Men that care about the community. These are men that you go to. Men that believe that that which they will give is that which will sustain. Go to those men, and they will give that to you, which you will give to the youth. And let me tell you this, we have failed our youth. The reason why we failed our youth is because we are failures in many instances. Failures to learn, we fail to learn, we fail to listen, we fail to learn, we fail to give, we fail to commit, and we fail to inspire. We failed in so many ways, innumerable and immeasurable. So I feel bad for the youth of today. I feel bad for them. Why do I feel bad? Because there are many men out there that can go to the street and stop all these things that are going on. Put our women in the right track. Shame them when there is a need for it. Talk to the women about these shenanigans. Take away the white man from our community and raise the community ourselves. But guess what? They're not willing to do that because they're all scared. They're scared because they might lose their job. They're scared because they might be called out. They're scared because somebody's going to say something to them or say something about them. I'm not scared of anything because guess what? It's always another man's joy that is not from my community to see my community fail. Why would he want to compete with me? He would rather compete with my wife, my woman, my sister, than compete with me because he has to fight me, man to man, bone to bone. But he can't do that. He would rather go deal with a woman than to deal with me, a man, an African man, a black man, a black American, because I can beat him bone to bone. I can beat him any day, anytime. I can outsmart him. I can build future better than him because we've done it for thousands of years. I can build the next civilization. He's not going to do that because my brain are wired stronger than his. He's not going to let me come up there. He's not going to let me do that. He don't want me up there, but he would like to deal with our women, my woman, because guess what? She can challenge him. That's it.
Brother doctoral candidate, Brother Ikene, gave us his dissertation in this motherfucker. God damn. Brother Ikene.
Let me go next because I got to get out of here and get to the gym.
You didn't take a breath. You didn't take one breath.
No, he didn't. No, he
in
didn't.
4.5 minutes.
I'm gonna go real quick.
But he hit a lot of points though.
He hit a lot of points.
He hit a lot of points.
He did. We did fail our youth in education, right? In education, whether we're in the home or not, like education now, we can make a phone call, we can send a text message, we can go on YouTube, make a video, whatever you want. I just think that when it comes to generation building, the best thing you can arm your your youth with is knowledge, right? Knowledge, information, and the law, right? You have to let your youth know where you live and how things are done, what to do and what not to do given certain situations to the best of your ability, right? Because if we're all older and we're all living in suburbia now, or we all used to live where they used to live or where they used to grow up, wherever we grew up. I grew up Section 8. I don't know everybody else, but I've lived a kind of rough life. Now I'm here, now I'm different, things like that. But like the brother in the video, I've been where the other person's at, never held a gun or anything, but I did do my dirt. I did do my share of dirt. And I do wish that I would have ran into someone who extended me that kind of a courtesy, even though I didn't and got into trouble and did all my stuff. At least made it. There's another side. There's the other side to your troubles and your dirt, right?
Man.
But there's too many failures.
All your ass did was didn't flush the toilet. Get out of here.
Nah. Jail. Nah, not jail. Jail. Real jail. None of that holdover stuff. Jail. 2 different counties. I had the food. I got the jumpsuit. All that crap. But there's another side to it, right? Years later. Yeah, but years later, there's another side to it. You learned your lesson, and it is our responsibility to pass those lessons on to the youth so that they don't follow up and slip up in our footsteps, that they can have better choices and better options out there rather than thinking that they can break into a house, have a gun, and think that they're going to walk out just fine, right? This is 1 out of 10. I think 9 out of 10 times that kid is dead on the spot. Nope, I don't fault anybody for thinking that way, especially because we all got families to protect. But when it comes to these scenarios, this one scenario, we just don't see it. We just do not see it each and every day. And that's why, and that's the only thing I'm tripping on. Like, hey, when we see it, we just got to talk about the scenario that actually happened, not necessarily what we would have done or what should have been done, but talk about the actual video, comment on that, give the brother his flowers for at least taking this one soul and talking to him rather than, shoot first and not ask any questions. And I'll just land playing that.
I think this situation. Go ahead, Mr. Payne.
No, I was going to say, I mean, if you can go ahead, but I was just going to say, first of all, I just don't think that part. I'm looking at the question: how have we failed our youth? Okay, I don't agree that we failed our youth. I don't agree with that.
Preach.
I mean, we're sitting down here as black men who are here, who have our own individual families. If we look at people in general, there's always different classes of people, right? So was it our charge to make sure 100% of our kids make it? 100%? I mean, what percentage are we talking about? How about the white people in the Appalachian Mountains and all of those damn places? I used to be in Buffalo, New York. South Buffalo was a white neighborhood that was a horror show. So all the white people, are they responsible for all their youth over there going? Listen, best we could do, right? I mean, I could just go through my anecdotal experience. I mean, I'm not a tough guy, but I lived in Harlem, across from a park between Manhattan and 8th, Metropolitan Park, where we couldn't go in there because they were killing people every night, And then when we moved to the Bronx, it was unbelievable. I mean, I lived in a room with my 2 cousins, my brother, and 2 cousins. There was 4 of us in there, and an Irish setter. And none of us, we used to draw lots, so we didn't have to sleep by the wall where there was a crack and roaches would come out of the son of a bitch at night. Okay. So what I'm saying is, yeah, we have some response. I was part of the Big Brothers Club when I was in college as my community service. You do what you can. And then you say, you know what? At the very least, I'm going to save my children. And then I'm going to save some cousins. And then I'm going to be a beacon for other people to follow. But a lot of us have to make our own choices. I don't agree with Umar Johnson that the rest of us are responsible for, women letting some asshole shoot up the club and having 6 babies out with 7 daddies. I don't believe we're responsible for that shit. I mean, so we could be,
I will say, Brother Payne, I say you were right to an extent, but I do think we failed the youth.
Okay,
because I'll say collectively, because what you're saying individually, we have not, and I agree.
Well,
because I was just saying that. Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. Well, see, that's the problem. Collectively, we say these words. Collectively, we could have done better. But what do you mean by a collective? What do you mean by a collective? I mean, it sounds good that if we all banded together and sang Kumbaya and shit like that, we could have saved the world. Is that what we're saying?
I'm not actually saying that. I have a much more detailed description.
You have to remember that our pain comes from the selfish generation. They'll never admit fault on anything.
Can I help our pain?
That's not true. But
I was thinking.
I'm open. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Trucker.
I think we did kind of fail the unit. Well, not mine, but to the other generation. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna put it out there. I think we did, and one of the reasons why is the people's not on the porch no more. The men, older men, is just now starting to have conversations with younger men. And the women who used to have conversations with other women, when they do have a conversation, they're not really telling the truth. If anything, they kind of inciting a problem. So as men, on our part, We just now starting to have these conversations, like all of us from different, what we're saying on the panel. I don't see out on the street no more. I don't even see at the family barbecue no more because everybody's too selfish. They're only thinking about themselves and their family. It's not like where if one side of the family, like the nephew, fuck up, all the men will sit that dude down or all the nephews and have a real conversation like, yo, we was in your shoes. We don't do that shit as men. I don't see none of that. Same thing goes for the women. Yo, y'all see women mess up and y'all don't say nothing. Y'all don't say nothing. Y'all don't, even though y'all know they wrong, y'all don't say nothing. It could be your
Truck, is
best
that really
friends.
true for the men, though,
That's
Trucker? Is that really true for the men?
No,
We do
it's
so.
so. Let me jump in there and kind of
I'm
reinforce
sorry,
that.
Chuck. I didn't mean to cut you off, but is that really true for the men? The women, yes, but the
Let
men
me
really.
reinforce that. Let me reinforce
The
that
men
because
don't say nothing no
it
more.
is true. It is true. It is true.
Now, like right now in this vicinity, like what we're doing right now, yes. But before this, literally growing up, the only time I had this conversation was back in 99 was like the last time I had a group of men sit me down and say, yo, you fucking up. You gonna get shot soon. And it happened. After that, 2000, when I moved to Columbus, Ohio, that was the last time I had conversations like this. It was only like till 2020 until I started seeing men collectively actually sit here and try to come and talk to young ones, like even police officers. You used to go to the barbershop and be able to do that, it ain't even like that no more. So that's what I'm looking at.
The power was taken from the men in various ways. The power within the so-called community was taken away from the men, and the women, to a degree, have been blocking us from being able to get at these boys until these boys are too much for them. Then they want to turn around and say, "Can you talk to little man, or can you holler at Ray? He's out of control." But for the 3 or 4 years that he was just on demon time and being a gremlin, and that same woman was, he ain't doing nothing, leave him alone, he's just young and doing what young boys do. They want to shield the men from stepping in until it's far too late.
Yeah. So I will say this. So I do believe we failed the youth collectively, and individually. I ain't do well. Maybe I did stuff in my past, but it wasn't to the scale that I could have done something in adulthood, right? So what I believe happened is that we allowed the corrupt part of the culture to become mainstream. And one of the ways we failed is that we actively participated in that. And, from our youth, we didn't realize we were doing any damage. All this twerking stuff and all that stuff you see now, it's exciting. It entices the senses. And, you've been told your whole life, don't engage in that. There are bad things that come from this particular activity, and we ignored it. Now, another thing that I think we allowed as a collective is we allowed women to think they could raise our kids outside the nuclear family. I think men allowed that because what we did generally is we backed causes that were not pro-family. We gave votes to politicians that were not pro-family. When we really look at it, the whole LGBT movement is anti-family because when you look at who is really involved in it, it's just women. Men don't really stand for that. They will take the side of rainbow causes over black family causes. So, you know what I mean? We allowed all of that to happen.
So,
The
question for you, Mike, was
hold on
that
real quick. I got a few on the list. The other thing that we did as men is we trivialized sex, and the women trivialized childbirth. When I look at this entire situation, I've always, and because it was instilled in me as a child myself, took the fact that if I ever got a woman pregnant, that was a serious occurrence. I was very likely going to marry that woman. We took out the seriousness of that transaction between black men and black women, right? By allowing them to think, oh, well, it's cool if we don't work out. I'll just pay child support. We allowed all of that to happen. We took out the seriousness from these situations and circumstances. And lastly, I think we failed with our choices correctly. We just, there are a lot of men that made bad choices in women based off what they felt in carnally, right? I say a lot of men are just out here wifing up their favorite sex toy, not really taking inventory of the woman's character, her morals, her values, her ability to build a stable home with you for the children you will eventually have. And then they might get messed up when they try to be with a woman like that and she just ends up being another 304. But go ahead, yo.
So let me get my question in real quick. I'm old, I'll forget. So did all blacks, the whole community, support these causes that you speak of? Or was that the leftist Democrat blacks? And why do conservative blacks, why do we bear that responsibility when we've been talking about these issues for years and we get called coon and every damn thing else? But 95% of our community,
just like you, I'm a conservative black. Just like you, I'm a conservative black. But if we have to be 100% about it, most of us were liberal blacks. And really the way that it came from, hold on, mister, we simped because we were indoctrinated through the college system. Men that went to college, men that grew up, what they really push is the woman's agenda. And we allowed that. We allowed that indoctrination of us, and we grew up to be more conservative, as is supposed to happen to most men. So that's why I'm saying I'm taking accountability here to say I enabled that shit for way too long before I started being true to who I really was. So I'm with you. I understand there are some men that are extremely conservative and have been preaching the same, conservative values. But remember that black people, 90% plus, vote one way. So we are, as men, enabling that bullshit.
So you mean most of the men is basically pussies, correct?
Yep, and simps.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's why we have it.
So let me tell you this, number one, Stunner. Let me tell you this, because we know that it's really against a man's biology to advocate for women against another man. But this is another thing where I said the black man's God right now is sex. He will not be true to his conservative values if it means losing sexual access to women. We have too many men like that.
I agree. And I was talking to, and the reason why my voice is sounding like it is now is because I was coaching basketball all weekend. But when I was with my boys and they between the ages of 12 and 14, this is just yesterday, I was preaching to them that they have to be disciplined with their D. You have to use D, discipline, because the girls that give easy sex are typically the ones that become everybody's baby mama. And they didn't intend for that to happen. They just fell into the easy sex. And I cautioned them that easy sex comes with serious consequences. It always will, either at that moment or later down the road.
Well,
But
to
it
me,
always will, but it always
to me-
has. I mean, this whole collective we thing is kind of disingenuous because the we that you're talking about, Mike, has to come with a certain amount of power with it. Right? We didn't change anything. We were a product of what was happening. I mean, this is the only time I would say that historically blacks have always been conservative. We didn't start turning Democrat until like the 50s or 60s, right?
Yep.
It was a Republican who broke the filibuster in the Senate so the civil rights movement could start. A lot of people just keep acting like they could just gloss over that. I mean, so there's a modicum of what they're saying is true, but let me just finish. But this whole we allow women to be sexually liberated, the pill did that. We didn't invent the pill. The pill did that. Why do we keep glossing over the fact that some of the women were chased, not because men chased them, because they were chased because they had to be. And so once the pill came in and they could have sex without impunity, they took to it. It wasn't men. Men take sex. You guys wait. I'll wait for everybody else. I'm going to land it here. Men have always taken sex from women any way they would give it to us. Always. It's never been different. It's never been different. It's still not different now. And that doesn't say that you can't have discipline. But discipline of sex with men comes with age. It comes with age, and yes, it does.
Oh,
yes, it does. Between 17
that is true. That is true.
Hold on.
That is very true.
We can't just sit down here and take the world's pressure and blame it on ourselves. Do we have a game to play? I mean, a part to play? Absolutely. But let's just get it straight. We say in these spaces that women control access to sex, but we don't know what that means because we don't delve into. Now I do, but a lot of you guys say that shit without giving them the responsibility and accountability over it. I, as a man, do not control the womb of a woman, and neither do you.
I agree.
Why
I shook my head was no, is because like number one stunner, where he teaching his sons to be dick disciplined at an early age. The same thing my dad told me. Same thing my uncle told me. Yo, never let pussy control you. Be dick disciplined.
I agree.
And thank God. And I appreciate the information that they told me this early, because had not, there's no telling how many kids I would have right now. But I got an
argument for me on.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of dudes are not talking, not really teaching them things. Had dudes really sat there and like, yo, be dick disciplined, be careful of these young girls, instead of, yo, you getting all the girls in school and all this other bullshit, it'd be a different story. It'd be a big difference.
The fact.
Trigger, can I say something?
I'm gonna shut up after this.
Trigger, can I say something?
Still don't have no kids, even with that message or not. 50% of men still don't have any children.
54% don't have.
Oh yeah, actually,
it's
57.
54.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that message or not, men ain't just going around willy nilly having kids.
But But see, we are answering the question. We are just taking a detour around the true answer to the question. The youth nowadays are being failed because we are letting. I'm not even gonna say we are letting. The fact of the matter is, people who should not have kids are having damn kids.
That's a fact.
It's that simple.
Facts.
Just that simple. It's just that simple. We can make it sound nice like everybody else has done it. We can say, hey, men need to have the discipline, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, y'all just said women control their own damn womb. We have no rights to that.
Fantasy, what the hell are you talking about saying y'all don't know if y'all have kids?
Trigger.
I know
Trigger.
I don't.
Wow.
Trigger.
What?
Wow. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this. We've messed up our community because we try to recreate what God created. We're trying to do too much. But I've been hearing this. If we want to keep it a buck, let me just say this stuff because I'm about to piss everybody off here. Everybody keeps talking about, I tell my son to be dick disciplined. But do you know that 50% most men train their daughter not to be a wife? Most people, I've seen it happen. 50% of men train their daughter to be partners to a man, not even a wife. No, you don't go only to the women. You train your son, you tell your son to be dick disciplined, but what do you tell your daughter to be? Do you train her to be a wife? You train your son to be a husband, to be a good man, to be disciplined, go out there to be a good guy. But what do you train your daughter to be?
To maintain her virtue. That's what I train my daughter.
So humble.
But we don't hear that. We don't hear most of that. We don't even hear most of that on the internet. I gotta say this, guys.
We don't even hear most of that on the internet.
Let me say this, guys.
I get exactly what Humble's saying, because I've said that before. A lot of these fathers, y'all be crippling. They do cripple their daughters. There's no argument against it.
But that's not. But that is not leading to the destruction of our.
But let me it's not leading to the destruction of. I gotta say this.
It's leading to
most girls
just unfeminine. Like
No.
that's that. And promiscuous women.
It's not promiscuous women. It's not. Most women.
How isn't it?
So let me tell you something. Listen, bro. Most women are promiscuous when they are. Let me finish, so you can get me, King. Most women are promiscuous. I'm sorry about it. Most women are promiscuous when they are raised by single mothers that are promiscuous. Okay, and when they have promiscuous girlfriends, yes. But just like Umbo said, most educated married women and most educated unmarried women today are as a result of their fathers. That is correct. And I got to tell you this. I know a lot of girls today that can't find a man, can't keep a man, because their fathers turned them into a masculine object. Fathers are mostly girls that grew up in two-parent household that didn't turn out to be wives today are mostly as a result of their fathers. Girls that grew up as a girl that has a father in the house, not all the men do this, but most men do this. They don't want what they do to somebody else's daughter to happen to their daughter. Let's be honest. So many men raise their kids, their daughters, to be masculine because they don't want what happened to somebody else's daughter, what they did to somebody else's daughter, happen to their daughter. So they build this strong woman. And guess what happens? Then they build a monster.
So we should let our daughter be hoes, Ekene? What are you talking about?
This is what we're not. Yeah, I'm gonna answer that. There is something called balance, right?
That's exactly right, but you didn't say that.
But we're not doing it. I'm just telling you, we're not doing it as fathers. A lot of fathers are not doing it. There are girls that are. I got to tell you this. Some girls that I end up having problem with growing up as a young man was girls that actually their fathers interfered in the relationship, not their mothers. And these are girls that I didn't do anything to. But because their fathers thought I wasn't going to be somebody, right?
They saw all the blood coming off your teeth.
No problem. but Mr. Penn, you might not agree to this, but when men are telling you what they are going through, listen to men. Just like we want women to listen to us, right? We as men should listen to other men too. Because when I tell you that one of the problems that we face in these girls is a result of girls becoming masculine because their dad told them to be masculine. Some of these girls are saying that, oh, I want a guy that will be like my father. What the hell are you talking about? Your father is your father. Another man is another man. I was actually discussing with a girl today about femininity. And she was telling me something about her husband and how she wanted her husband to be just like her father. I said, no, you can't do that. Your father is your father, your husband. As long as both of them, as long as your husband is doing what a man is supposed to do, which means being a father in the house, is not supposed to walk like your father, act like your father, behave like your father, because that's the problem in our community. Every girl wants a man to be like her daddy.
You talking too early though, man. So her father, right, could have been a responsible and loving man to her mother. And when she says, I want a guy like my father, she could be meaning from that respect. Hey, I want a guy who respects me like my father respects my mother. How about that? You know, wait, hold on. No, let me just say this to you. And I heard men before say, you know what? I would like to have my daughter find a guy like me because I know how dedicated I've been to my family and to my wife and my kids, boy or girl. But I don't disagree with some of the sentiments that you're talking about. You said the word balance. You said the word balance. Everything else after that. So, but when you go through your explanation, you're not staying on balance.
Wait. Let's put it this way. As men, we are logical. When we talk about being like a father, we're logical. We know that all men are not supposed to work the same. But we know what the end goal is, right? As men, we're logical. But women are emotional.
Yeah, I agree. But listen,
they're not going to reason the way we want it.
Let me just say this one thing. I personally wouldn't mind if my daughters found a guy like me to get married to, because I know the dedication I've had to my family. Now, they don't have to be my personality, but I would love to know that they can find a man who's going to protect them throughout the ages for 30 years, 40 years, have children with him to make sure they never have to go through the hardships that he's seen. Like I made sure my family didn't have to see the shit that I saw. My wife doesn't know half the shit I went through to get us to where we are now, and I'm not rich. You know, so all I'm just trying to say is, I don't. If to me, it's a compliment if your daughter says, you know, Dad, I'm looking for a man who can have some of the qualities that you have. How could that go?
So I think nobody is wrong here. Nobody's wrong here. What it really is that Ekene is speaking to what we were talking about earlier to say this is a problem. Remember, there is no problem the Black community is suffering from that does not stem from fatherlessness. And what happened is that most Black men became fathers without having fatherly guidance themselves. Some of them also didn't seek support and guidance from men who knew how to do the job correctly. So what really they end up doing, like most fathers do, especially if you have daughters, it starts to make you soft. And if you don't have men to weigh your actions against, to say, nah, we're not doing that, right? I raise my daughter based on how my dad raised my sisters. He's basically telling them, my dad would say stuff all the time, basically saying, that's for the boys. No, that will make you harden. I mean, no man's going to want you. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's how fathers need to talk to their daughters. Some men acquiesce to the, just simply because they love their daughters out of love. It's like they love them so much and nobody told them that some of the behaviors may be counterproductive to them finding future partners. So they enabled their daughters in a way without knowing that it would be detrimental to their marital prospects. That's all. It's only because they lacked an example themselves. That's all.
Yeah, let me say this too. But no matter how it's sliced and diced, you still need both the mother and the father in the family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me tell you something. No matter, like if I'm a father, right? I can tell my daughter a lot of things, but there's still things I can't teach my daughter. For example, I can't teach my daughter how to use feminine products because I'm not a woman. I haven't used them. Mm-hmm. Okay. I can't tell her how to act feminine. I don't know every aspect of it. Only the mother can. Now, if I have a son, I can tell him about, man issues. I could tell which man to look for, which man not to look for, because I understand I'm a man, okay? But if my mother were to teach anything to my son, she could tell him what girls are looking for because they're women. The mother is a woman, okay? So, I mean, like I say, you can teach them all you can, but you can't teach a child everything. Mm-hmm. When you're not the same gender as the child.
That is true. That is very true. All right, let's get the next question popping. Without mentioning the government, what steps need to be taken to improve the future of our youth, for our youth? Anybody can go.
Well, first, it starts at the home, and we talked about it. But if it doesn't start at the home, we could intercept them at school because that's where a lot of children are. I'm a teacher, okay? And when I discipline the students, I don't go, hey, no, you're wrong for doing that. I'll try to find out why the students do it and try to talk to the student about it. But nowadays, some schools have mentor programs. We have different organizations outside of the schools, to talk to our youth. I want to shout out the Divine Nine because they have programs where they come into the schools and talk to our youth. So you have to go where you have to intercept them where where they could be. There's even a school where Black men volunteered to monitor the hallways as well, so that they could talk to our youth. So if it's not solved in the home, it could be solved at school, maybe in church, just anywhere where you see a lot of children.
All right. Brother Ikene, Brother Payne.
Let me go for Ikene because I'll be quick. I think we should use every avenue that we can. Every avenue that we can. I'm just saying it could be. Some of the time, one of the things in the Black community that we have issues with is we get these demagogues out there who say, there's only one way to skin this cat. I mean, I was on a panel and a guy was just so belligerent that because he had like boots on the ground. He said the whole YouTube space is a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was so disingenuous, right? Because even if you have boots on the ground with your organization, you might be able to get your message out to hundreds. But if you have the right social media channels, you can get your message out to millions, right? You can't make them all accept the message, but at least it can reach. And the deal is, how many nuggets are you leaving behind? For a person to actually latch on to, right? It's not whether they can completely get the whole message, as long as they can get part of the message enough so they can make some meaningful changes. Like the Trigger Mike show, for however reach it has, it's not going to reach everybody. But if it could reach a few souls and make them say, you know what, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll follow that guy on this or that girl or whatever, and maybe I'll make some subtle changes. That's success, and so we need to use every technological avenue available, and social media is one of them. And then also boots on the ground, and also so the message that we send, the way we send it, facts are facts. You won't have to sugarcoat the facts. Men have their responsibility for their nature, how culture impacts us, and how the environment impacts us. But so do women. And when it comes to sex, we keep letting them off the hook. We keep letting them off the hook for their own responsibility. They'll sit down here and scream, "It's my body, my choice," when it comes to the A word, from the Supreme Court. But they refuse to take responsibility for what they let into their womb. Oh, it takes two and all this other horse shit. Hey, listen. Back in my day, because I get in a lot of trouble, I'm going to land it here. There's always been a mixture of 304s and women who are chaste with virtue. Just like somebody said, all the way back to Mary Magdalene, who was the first famous 304. But there was virtuous women then. When I was young, in the 70s and 80s, there were virtuous women there. And of course, there was 304s in the sexual revolution. And so now, in 2023, there's 304s now, and there's still virtuous women out there. And it's just, I had to go through 20 women to find the one I have. Now you might have to go through 100. But the nature of women have not changed. Just the environment and the culture has changed, and the way it's manipulated. The same thing for men. So I refuse as a Black man to sit here and say we're responsible for all this shit that's going on. Did we have a part to play? Yes. But we ain't the puppet masters. So if we're going to sit down here and take all of that on us, that's crazy, because all the good works that we do is being eliminated.
Yep.
And it starts from each household. I got an intact household. You have one. This guy has one. This guy has one. How could that not count for something? So let me just land it there. So we don't need the government for that. We got to stop. We've got to put the blame where it's at. If all Black people keep voting for the Democrats, we're doomed. We're doomed. And President Obama, the first so-called Black president, when's the last time he wrote an open letter to what he did for Black people? He got one for the OBGYNs. He got one for the gays. He got one for all these people. How about for us? He's supposed to be the first Black president. What's his open letter for us? He's advocating for sexual books to first graders. You know, so let me just, this is so many angles here. Yes, we don't need the government to fix our, we just need to each one teach one and pay it forward. That's how I feel.
Indeed, Brother Ikene.
Yeah, whenever we as human beings kind of delegate our duty to the government, we are doomed as people. Because we're not supposed to delegate our duty to the government, because the government's role in the community is to protect its citizens with security, infrastructure, not to raise family. It's our responsibility to raise family. The reason why the government is doing that is because a lot of women out there don't want a man to be part of the family, so the government is stepping in. They rather have a government raise your child than you. Because if you come to raise your child, you have to put down rules and regulations that govern your child, and she doesn't want that. So she would rather have somebody that is invisible dictating so that she can go do whatever she wants to do, because she doesn't want to live under anybody's authority. Then the next thing is this. When the government starts ruling your start raising your kids for you, now there won't be responsibility. The kids are not going to be responsible, because it's like an absent father raising a child. You got to be physical there to raise that child. You got to be able to speak to the child's ears. You got to be able to discipline a child. The government is not proactive, they are reactive. But as a parent, you are proactive, because that child is your child. The child has to bear your last name, and the child has to do the things according to the virtue of your family. The government doesn't have virtue, because most governments are immoral, or all governments are immoral. They don't care about your child. They only care about theirs. I always tell people all the time that politicians only have two interests: his donor and his family. That's it. His donor and his family. So yes, can a government, can we raise our children without government? We can, any day, anytime do that. So when I said that the fathers are not balancing certain things, yes, they're not balancing, because a father can't really raise a daughter. That's why I said balance. You give that daughter to your wife to raise. You tell your wife what you want your daughter to be, and your wife will then raise her in her femininity. But if you as a father wants to play the role of a mother, guess what you're going to do? You're going to exhibit your masculinity, and all your daughter can see is masculinity, because you're doing a direct upbringing that her mother was supposed to be doing. So that's why we have to create that balance. Like I do tell people all the time, when you're not living with the baby mama, and you have a son, you should have your child at the age of 4 as a man. If you have a daughter, you should have your daughter at the age of 4 as well, or 3, so you can imprint her. But you got to let her go by the age of 10 back to her mother, so that her mother can raise a daughter. But if you go and pick up a daughter, and you want to raise a daughter up to her 18th year birthday, you're creating a masculine, you're just creating a testosterone. So, should the government be in our family? No, the government shouldn't, because guess what? In the primitive time, it was family that raised children. That was why the children were able to behave. They understand the conduct of the community. They understand the tradition. They understand culture. They were embedded in that culture. They understand how men should move, how women should move. Because remember that government is encompassed with people of different cultures. But your culture raises your children. But when you have somebody of a different culture to tell you of your culture, how to raise a child, they're going to bring their own culture. And when it doesn't work, guess what? It becomes a problem. That's why nobody, no government should raise your children, but government should provide security to you and your family.
Yeah, that's good points, man.
All right. Y'all went nuts on that one. That was dope. All right, let's get final thoughts. Can we save the youth? What are y'all thoughts? Final thoughts.
Yeah, the answer is yes, but we can't save everybody. So we got to start looking for the future. That's what I look at. There's a lot of energy that needs to be expended for. It's just, if we just look at the Black community, how much energy should we put into trying to save people who don't want to be saved, who think everything is okay? How can you convince somebody against their will to do something other than what they want to do? And how much energy should you put into that? So how are millennials moving? How are Gen Zs moving that we could still make a difference in their lives before they go on to start making their families? The millennials already have, but how about the Gen Zers into the future? How do we fix that? So I think that's the focus. And one of the focuses I think we need to do is we need to kind of eliminate this victimization mentality where people keep thinking that Black people are so victimized by the system that we can't move. It's just simply not true. But by understanding that, does that mean that Jim Crow, slavery, and all the bad things that was done to us never existed? Absolutely not. It has, but we're still here. We're still breathing. We still have opportunity to do great things. You look at the poverty line for Black folks. A poverty line for Black folks now is like 20 grand or something like that. But it's like what, maybe 25% or less of us. And 50 years ago, it was maybe 30 or 40. Back in the worst racist times, it was like still less than half. So how did we get here? That means that all this organizational racism that we talk about only has a certain amount of impact, and mostly is on the impact of people who use it as an excuse not to do what they need to do to move forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So all I'm just trying to say is, if the longer we concentrate on the shit that we can't change, and reparations is a part of that too, because a lot of it is ridiculous now. I think we're going to be stuck. Some new policy changes help us. The fact that there's more restrictions on the A word, with the baby deletions, is a good thing for us. The fact that affirmative action is no longer a crutch will start to prove that we can compete with anybody, because we've done that anyway, right? My daughter finished at the top of her class in a technical college, and she was competing against Indians and everything else.
Nice.
And I was barely a C student, So all I'm just trying to say is, we can do so many things if we just start looking forward, and the things we can accomplish as Black folks, which is miraculous under the most oppressive things that we could think of until we are now. And, I just think we need to move forward. So those are my final thoughts. And if we move forward, the youth will move forward. We should celebrate success. We should understand that there's more than one way to skin a cat without trying to cut the legs off of somebody who, if you got your blackity blacks who might want to, downgrade somebody who's a little bit more conservative. That's bullshit. We need conservative Blacks. We need some liberal Blacks. We need people who are independent. We need people all over the diaspora, because the best parts of all of these people will help us propel forward as long as we don't think we're victims. And that's what I think we should do. And we could save ourselves moving forward. Now, when I mentioned the baby deletion thing, the reason why that's so insidious eugenics is because we've been a 13% population since I was a little kid in the 70s, in the 60s, and we're still 13 or 12% of the population now. How can that be unless we're eliminating our kids? And remember now, the more people you have, the more power you have in the votes in this country when they do the census every 10 years. So let me just land it there.
All right. Dr. Steele?
One thing I want to say is this. Some of the older people has led our youth in the wrong direction. An older person will always have an influence over a younger person. And sometimes there's no influence at all. This is why we need to do a better job at mentoring our youth. First, it starts at the home. Parents should be the top mentors of a child. But if not the parents, the youth, um, hopefully the youth can get with an adult that is more positively influential. Now, there's one thing I do want to say. You don't have to be a child to be mentored. A 33 can run to a 53-year-old like me. I could be that guy's mentor as well. And I could tell that person about life. I don't know about raising a family, but I believe, if I mentor that 33-year old to better his life, I'm sure he's gonna have an idea about how he can raise a family. So again, it comes down to either being a positive influence on somebody younger or not being an influence at all.
All right, Ikene.
Yeah. Um, I gotta say briefly of what Dr. Steele said and also Mr. Payne, Dr. Payne, engineer Dr. Payne. Yeah. So I'm gonna say briefly of what you guys said, but what I'm gonna say is this, right? I'm looking forward to the day that um men in our age range and up to in their 40s and in their 50s and their 60s can sit down and form a circle and talk, and in them they can sit down and talk, just like I experienced growing up in Nigeria. And you have youths just come around them and listen to this man's pure knowledge. Those are things I want to look forward to. You talk, I would say Dr. Steele, Mr. Payne, me myself, Trigger Mike, be on a channel, on a neutral channel that will have youths that don't need all this colorful talk and discussions and yelling and fighting, on YouTube. Just talk about knowledge, talk about community, talk about bringing up the next generation, talk about things that when a child listens to, that child will know that knowledge is being spilled out. That child will listen and then grow themselves, train themselves to be on an upper level. Things like educational stuff can be discussed, community can be discussed, business can be discussed without the drama, without the fanfare, without the fireworks. But settings that when these youth listen to it, they will gain knowledge. Because I remember, I think Trigger Mike knows this. When you go to the village in Nigeria, right? And I remember when my dad was alive before he died recently. When he sat down to talk on a chair, you see men in their 50s. That's good. I like that. Men in their 50s, men in their 30s, and men in their 20s, they're going to all form circle just to hear my dad talk. Because all he's saying are things of knowledge. He will said about his father, his grandfather, because we need to hear those things so we can know where we come from. But today we don't have views that want to hear those stuff. All they want to hear is that Kisha and shit. And Dwayne is a dope guy. You know, it will come to a time when we have to move away from that and start moving into that family discussion where it's going to be very uncomfortable. But I got to tell you, That is the beginning of the saving of the black community. We've gotten people's attention now. We've told them everything that is wrong with the black woman. We've told them that 20% of the black men are out there impregnating 67% of black women. That is 75% of the kids born out there are born in wedlock engagements, right? Yes. Now the solution is this. Let's spill knowledge and let them teach, grow up with it.
All right, y'all. That was dope. Appreciate everybody for coming through. I'll catch y'all on the next one.
Yep, later.
All right. That was one hell of a show. Thank y'all for coming through to the Trigger Mike Show. A lot of people on right now. I know Venus is on. Check out her channel. My man Aaron O is talking about that Carly Russell business. Check him out as well. Eli, say hi to the audience.
Hi.
All right, we out. They just came and bombarded me. They just got home from camp. I'm about to go do daddy stuff. We got to go get some juice. The fridge is empty for juice. And we got to go pick up the groceries, okay?
Okay.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right. We out, y'all. Let me get this last super chat. My man Advanced Perception says we need community. Stop. Look at the Asians and Arabs. Absolutely. That's exactly what we need, bro. Starts with the fathers at the forefront, though. All right, y'all. It's your boy Trigger Mike. I will be back. Check out Chaotic tomorrow. Chaos with Chaotic. I may be on in the night, but I'll definitely come back on Wednesday to holler at y'all. We out. Eat the Altoid or the icebreaker. Yeah, all right, y'all. Catch y'all on the next one.